The rumors are true. These halls will be walked a little differently next year with the new alternative schedule.
For years, Greater Latrobe has been following the same 8-period daily schedule. Next year, there will only be 6 periods a day, each for 55 minutes.
When you look at one of our major initiatives here at Greater Latrobe Senior High School, that initiative is project-based learning. With project-based learning comes collaboration, critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, all skills students are going to need to be successful in an economy that's ever changing. So with project-based learning, we need time in our periods for the deeper dive into content. With our current schedule, we have an 8-period day with 42-minute periods. We felt that the 42-minute periods are not conducive to those deep dives into content. We want to kind of change the mindset of having to cover this much content to covering this much content but much deeper so students have a thorough understanding of what they're learning.
Latrobe has so much to offer to its students. One of the goals of the new schedule is to help students take advantage of these opportunities.
The goals and objectives for our new schedule, number one, we want to create longer periods for project-based learning. These longer periods would give students time to reflect, collaborate, and really engage in meaningful ways with problems. We want to create time for teachers to collaborate, which ultimately will improve instruction for students. We want to create time for students to gain remediation, intervention, and enrichment. We want to reduce, for the most part, study halls. We want to create an efficient and effective way of scheduling students with a focus on really maximizing opportunities. We want students to be able to get all classes that they request. And our ultimate goal all the time, we're constantly focusing on improving our school culture and climate.
There are obviously a lot of benefits to the alternative schedule. So how will it work?
With our current schedule, students schedule 8 classes per day. That will remain unchanged for next year. So students will still be scheduling 8 classes per day. The part that does change with the new schedule is what we call a rotating drop 2 schedule. So students will only have 6 classes per day versus the 8 per day that they have this year. If you look, it's going to be a 4-day rotating cycle. You have to think about the morning classes as a rotating cartwheel and the afternoon classes as a rotating cartwheel. There's 4 periods or 4 sets that rotate in the morning and 4 sets that rotate in the afternoon. For an example, if you have English during period 1 on day A, you have it during period 3, during the period 3 time slot on day C, and during the period 2 time slot on day D. You do not have it on day B. So for your typical classes, the teachers will see the students 3 out of 4 days. What we like about the rotating schedule, if students are tardy, they're not always missing the same class. If they have to leave early for sports because the afternoon rotation works the same, they're not always leaving and missing the same class in the afternoon. If you look on day A, students would not have sets 4 and 8. On day B, they wouldn't have sets 1 and 5. So you're always dropping 2 sets a day. And we start to refer to the classes as sets versus periods because technically the period times never change. The sets rotate through the different period time slots, just like I use for English. English is in the period 1 time slot, period 3 time slot, period 2 time slot. So it's a rotation. 4 periods rotate in the morning, 4 periods cartwheel and rotate in the afternoon.
There are 2 exceptions to the rotating schedule: classes that involve a lab period and the keystone tested subjects of biology and algebra.
The typical teacher will see their classes 3 out of 4 days, unless you're an algebra teacher, because it's a keystone tested subject. So those teachers will see their students 4 out of 4 days. Our biology is a keystone tested subject area, so those teachers will see their students 4 out of 4 days. Our other lab science classes, for an example, AP chemistry or regular chemistry, they will see their students 3 out of 4 days, but on one of the days, it will be a block period. So those students will be there for 110 minutes. Those are the days the teachers will be doing the different labs with the students.
Numerous students attend EWCTC for half the day. The new schedule cooperates with them as well.
Our EWCTC schedule will remain unchanged. So our morning EWCTC students will miss the morning cartwheel. Our afternoon EWCTC students will miss the afternoon cartwheel. So they will be available during the lunch and learn. So students, the AM EWCTC students will be back by 10:35. The PM EWCTC students will depart at 11:40.
With our current schedule, classes are held throughout the entire day. Next year, Greater Latrobe will no longer have 3 separate lunches. Instead, a 65-minute lunch and learn will take place for all students.
Well, the Lunch and Learn is a wonderful opportunity for the students at Greater Latrobe High School. It's a 65-minute period of time that students have the freedom of choice.
This choice also includes where students want to eat.
Our cafeteria can only hold approximately 370 students, so we're going to be opening up our outdoor courtyards, our libraries, our commons area, our lobbies, our hallways for students to eat lunch.
In order to determine if an alternative schedule would work for Greater Latrobe, faculty members had the opportunity to visit a variety of schools across the state, including Lower Merion High School, which uses the alternative schedule. They also got to experience the Lunch and Learn firsthand.
During Lunch and Learn, what was most interesting was the variety of activities available for students at that time. So they could eat lunch anytime they wanted during that hour. So kids were somewhere in the cafeteria, somewhere in the hallways, in common areas. They were able to be working together and eating, collaborating at the same time.
Although aid from teachers will be available to students every day during the Lunch and Learn, juniors and seniors with appropriate grades will have access to much more.
Many areas of the school will be open and the students will have access. For example, the gym, the weight room, the library. They'll also have places where students can use to study quietly and just basically have some downtime before we gear up for the second half of the day.
The flexibility for students to determine how to spend their time opens up a wide variety of opportunities. For instance, student athletes can use this time to relax and take care of their bodies or to gain some additional practice.
One of the neat things that I witnessed when I had the opportunity to visit Lower Merion was the opportunities that are available during the day for students. For example, a student athlete can use that time to hone their skills in a particular sport. One student was using the pool to exercise prior to his cross-country meet. Other students were using the gym and the weight room just to get additional practice in during the course of the day.
At Lower Merion, students participated in intramurals organized by the PE department. Other students found new ways to express themselves through an open mic performance every week.
Some activities they had, intramurals in the gym. There was also a group of students, they do the first Friday of every month, they call it open mic. So there was a student playing the guitar and another one singing, and other students around kind of like a coffee shop atmosphere. And it was just a wonderful time for the kids to just relax and have some time for themselves to do what they needed to do.
As far as scheduling goes, study halls will rotate the same as regular classes. However, they are not encouraged.
Because students will have time during the Lunch and Learn to really complete homework, to get intervention, to get enriched, our goal is to really try to reduce or eliminate study halls. Instead of students scheduling a study hall, we would much rather them schedule one of their electives or an elective that fits into their career pathway.
If a junior or senior does schedule a study hall, they won't be assigned a class to report to. Instead, they can do as they please and go wherever they need to go in order to get their work done.
9th graders, however, and 10th graders will have more of a restricted study hall where they will report to a place and be more guided through the first 2 years here at Greater Latrobe High School.
Freshman classes will rotate the exact same as the upperclassmen's. However, their Lunch and Learn will be much more controlled, and they will continue to eat lunch in the junior high.
While freshmen are eating lunch together in the junior high cafeteria, 9th grade teachers will also be eating lunch. Therefore, at the conclusion of their lunch period, all freshmen will report back to their advisor, which will most likely be a 9th grade teacher that will assist in helping freshmen with their academic, career, and social needs.
Freshmen will use this 30-minute period for intervention, remediation, and enrichment. All 9th grade teachers will be available at this time. As for sophomores, they will eat in the high school with the juniors and seniors. However, their Lunch and Learn privileges will be slightly more restricted for the second half of the lunch.
As for sophomores, they will be granted far more privileges than freshmen during Lunch and Learn. Sophomores will be permitted to eat lunch in all designated areas in the senior high and can participate in activities that will be offered to both juniors and seniors. The only exception is that sophomores will be checking in with their advisor during the first 5 minutes of Lunch and Learn before reporting to one of their designated or desired locations of choice.
Next school year will be here before we know it, and Latrobe's student and staff are excited and ready for the new change.